prayers that go forth, as we stand between the porch and the altar, crying out day and night, and morning and the evening, and at noon, for our brothers and our sisters that are lost and prostituting sheep of Yisrael, allow us to see the day, when it is called, for our people to be gathered, the day when our people stand unified, one body, one belief, and one Savior in you, mighty Savior. Thank you for being our strength this day. And thank you, for all the things of your Torah that you us to learn on tonight, Thank you that our Ruach will be open to receive, everything that you have in store, mighty Savior. Every word of wisdom, every word of correction, every word, of instruction that will be given unto us, by our senior prophetess, Moral Sabrina Brown, Thank you for Baruch and thank you, for allowing us to know your truth, mighty Savior. And your truth will make us free, Thank you, for the making process, Thank you that as you make us over again, mighty Savior, that you allow us to walk in new light, that we no longer walk in darkness, no longer discerning, or seeking after the things, that are not of you, or nor to your pleasure, but seeking, for your excellency, seeking for your throne, and for the building up of your kingdom, mighty Savior. Let it be manifested in our lives, in earth as it is in Shemaim, Let your kingdom and your reign be established in this earth, in our bodies, these earthen vessels that you have given unto us, to declare, to proclaim your goodness, mighty Let us be standing, let us stand united as a people, as there is much dissension, as there is much, much, that our brothers and our sisters, have yet to come together and to face one another, about, even in the communities, let it be, that through our times of prayer, through our time, of study, that we'll find it in our hearts, that we'll find it in our ruach, to walk after shalom, to walk after your peace, with our brothers and our sisters, mighty Yahuwah. Let that be true shalom, Let it not just be cliche, Let it not become just another cliche greeting, that our people use, Let it truly be, that when we speak shalom into one of our Kode's life, that there would be shalom, We thank you and we work you this night, Thank you for the lesson that we shall receive on tonight, Thank you for everything that we're going to learn, for everything that you're allowing us, to even relearn, even to unlearn, Thank you for proving us this night, as we seek after your truth, as we seek after your ways, Thank you that we shall be filled, You said they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, they shall be filled, We thank you for the filling, mighty Savior. Thank you, as our souls are open, to receive all that you have in store for our lives, mighty Thank you, that we will be open and ready, to receive everything that you have, every word of correction, and let it be, that our ruach would not be troubled, by anything that comes to us, As we know that we're in the last days, and the signs, are being revealed unto the generation that is called and chosen, mighty Let our eyes be open, and let our ears truly be attentive, mighty Savior. Let us walk after wisdom. Let us walk after your righteousness, and let us truly walk in unity in this season, As we're praying, for our brothers and our sisters that are in Biafra, Pray for our brothers and our sisters, that are in the different nations, that we have been scattered to, As we know that the scattering, put us in all corners of the world, We thank you, that there is a calling out, that there is a rising up of your people in the standard, of the belief that we're supposed to carry as the Ibra people. We thank you and group from a consciousness, not just self-consciousness, concerning our skin color, but let the consciousness be within, because we know who you are. We know, what it is that you have called us to do, and who it is, that you have called us to be, mighty Savior. Thank you that as we walk in unity, that we walk in unity in all things, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in business, whether it's in our fellowship, and in our worship of you, Let it be, that we strive towards your excellence, and towards the building up and the establishing of your kingdom, mighty Savior. We thank you and we work you this night, Thank you for removing the work, of our senior prophetess, Moral Sabrina Brown's hands, as you have gifted her, and willed it into her hands, to be the willing lead this ministry, Thank you for removing, for everything that she puts out, and for everything that she takes in, Thank you for strengthening this vessel, We thank you, for the other strong vessels, that are out there leading in truth, mighty Savior, that are leading our brothers and our sisters after your righteousness, and not after the doctrines of men, that make your Torah of none effect, Thank you for Baruching, that we would stand in unity, with those of like belief, As you told us that you would give us pastors, laborers, and shepherds after our own hearts, that they would instructions, the Torah and the Brit Hadashah, that we might walk after your wisdom, mighty Savior. Help us to walk after your word, being Akkad truly, Let us walk being unified, Let us walk standing together, not standing in opposition, but even if we have to disagree, let our disagreements be even in shalom, Let it truly be said of other nations, that we are a truly wise people, selected and chosen by you, mighty Savior. We thank you, Lord, for this night, for everything that you're doing in us and through us, your kingdom people. As we submit ourselves unto you, we thank you for baruching us this night, Thank you for the manifold baruch of your Torah. And as we continue to pray and cry out, for our brothers and our sisters that are oppressed, those, that find themselves, in hard situations, those that find themselves having to grind, day and night, just to make a living, we thank you that you allow us to reach them, allow us to find them, let them know, the purpose for their struggle, For we are that people, we are that scattered nation, that was turned aside, we might not, be destroyed completely, turn us away, that your mercy, that your name, might be preserved in our generation, mighty Savior. We thank you, that as you have preserved this generation for such a time as this, we thank you, as we accept everything that you've given to us, as we eat the whole roll, accepting everything in your Torah, accepting everything in the writings and the prophets and in the Brit Hadashah. We thank you for your Masorah that you've given unto us, your people, mighty Savior. As we are chosen and elected, we take it not lightly, nor do we boast, in anything, lest we be made to shame, and to shame your covenant with our people, mighty Savior. We thank you for everything that you're doing in us and through us, your kingdom people, Lead us and guide us in our time of praise on tonight, mighty Savior, as we do everything for the lifting up, and the excellency of your Kodesh name, We thank you for all of these things and more, and it is in your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach's name that we do pray, and it is so. Ask that everyone will stand to their feet and give you a hand clap of praise as we bring to your front the MYK Praise and Worship team at this time.
Baruch Yahuwah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. I will baruch your name. 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 Baruch Yahuwah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. I will baruch your name. 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 Baruch Yahuwah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. I will baruch your name. 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 I will baruch your n Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, I will prove your name. 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 Prove you. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, prove you. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, I will prove your name. 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 Prove you. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, prove Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, I will prove your name. I will prove your name. I will prove your name. I will your name, Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, prove Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, I will prove your name. 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 Prove Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, prove Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, I will prove your name. 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 Prove Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, prove Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, I will prove your name. 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 Hallelujah, hallelujah, I'm chasing after you, no matter what I have to do, 'cause I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you, no matter what I have to do, I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you, no matter what I have to do. I need you I'm praising my way to just to be closer to you. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what. I need you, yeah, more and more, 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 more and more. More and more and more and more. I'm chasing after you. I'm praising my way to just to be closer to you. I'm chasing after you. I'm praising my way just to be closer to you. I'm chasing after you. I'm praising my way just to be closer to you. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. 'Cause I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. 'Cause I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you no matter what I have to do. I need you more and more. Hallelujah, hallelujah. When Yahuwah says yes, nobody can say no. When Yahuwah says yes, nobody can say no. I'm not worried about a thing, because I know you are guiding me. Where you lead me, oh, I will go. I have no fear, 'cause I know who can come. There's no limit to what you can do, 'cause it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. No rushing now. You're almighty and all powerful, and it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. Who says yes? Nobody. no. I have no fear 'cause I know who's in control. There's no limit to what you can do. 'Cause it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. No rushing out. You're almighty and all powerful. And it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. You were said yes. Nobody can say no. When you were said yes. Nobody can say no. When you were said yes. Nobody can say no. When you were said yes. Nobody can. He's in control. There's no limit to what you can do. 'Cause it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. No rushing down. You're almighty and all powerful. And it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. You were there, yes, nobody can say no. When you were there, yes, nobody can say no. There is none like you. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search for all eternity, Yahuwah, and find there is none like you. There is none like you. No one else can touch me up. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search for eternity, Yahuwah, and find there is none like you. There is none, no. There is none like you. No one else can touch my heart. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search for all eternity, Yahuwah, and find there is none like you. There is none, oh no, there is none like you. No one else can touch me up. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search for all eternity, Yahuwah, and find there is none like you. There is none, no. There is none like you. No one else can touch me up. No one else can touch my There is none, no. There is none like you. No one else can touch my heart. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search for all eternity of who I can find. There is none like you. There is none, oh no, there is none like you. No one else can touch me out. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search for all eternity of who I can find. There is none Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like him. With him we win. He's our champion. With him we can lose. We always win. He's our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our hands, lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. When you we win, you're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win, you're our champion. With you we can always win, you're our champion.
Hallelujah. Come on, let's magnify our King and let's lift him up. Because he is truly worthy of all the praise, worthy of the highest esteem, and we can magnify him. We just been in this place because he is victorious, and we are victorious through him. It is now time for our declaration. The time when we come to worship in the atmosphere, the first voices that you hear will be a portion of the praise, and I will give you all the day into a time of declaration.
Listen here, have you ever heard this name? I know he washed me clean, white as snow. If you have salvation, then you know you will be clean. You'll be cleansed with the Spirit. Have you ever heard of this name? His name that starts with Y and is written. Call it his Yahusha. Yeah, oh, his name Yahusha. His name Yahusha. Yeah, yeah. Yahusha, sweet Yahusha. Listen here, have you ever heard this name? Oh, he washed me clean, white as snow. If you have salvation, then you know you will be clean. You'll be cleansed with the Spirit. Have you ever heard of his name? His name that starts with Y and is his name. Call it his Yahusha. Yeah, oh, his name Yahusha.
Hallelujah. Come on, as we move into this our time of declaration, I simply ask everyone to repeat after me. Say, I declare that I am thankful that I'm walking in the light of the Torah. For his word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Therefore, I shall not stumble as I walk in obedience to his Torah. Satan is defeated, your darkness is scattered, and your rooted is sovereign. And it's so. Hallelujah. Come on, let's magnify our King. Hallelujah. He is truly worthy. Hallelujah. He is truly worthy. And as we continue to lift up, magnify your living of our hand, it is not time for us to receive unto our King. And as we do so, utilizing one of the means whereby our Abba has made way for us to experience Baruch in this land, we do so according to his department. For he has said in the book of Genesis that as long as the earth remains, there remains seed time and harvest. Luke 6:38 says that when we give, it shall be given unto us good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall the Abba cause men to give into our bosom. He lets us know in the book of Malachi that when we're obedient in our tithes and our offerings, that he will open unto us the windows of heaven, pour us out of the roof, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. He will rebuke the devourer for our sake, and neither shall our mighty hands for before the field, says the sovereign of hosts. He left in 2 Corinthians 9 that the Abba loves a cheerful giver. He gives seed to the sower, bread for our food, and he multiplies our seed sown, and he increases the fruit of our righteousness. Amos comes full circle to let us know that the time is coming and now is when the reaper shall overtake the sower. So as we come preparing us for our seed, we know that not only is it seed time, but what time is it? What time is it? It is harvest time. If you're in need of a harvest, then I implore you that you must sow seed. Hallelujah. This is so important. Hallelujah. This is not the method, hallelujah, that they use throughout Christianity or by churches and all this other stuff. But this is the word of Yahuwah. Every time you look in the scriptures, as you see that the Abba always made a way for his people to root his people. And as any farmer knows, if you expect a harvest, you must first do what? You must sow. You must sow seed. These are the principles that our Yahuwah has already set into place. As it says in the book of Bereshit or Genesis, as long as the earth remains, and last time I checked, it's still here. There remains seed time and harvest. Hallelujah. So that means that you sow seed according to the principle that our Yahuwah has already set in place, that you must reap a harvest. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Unless you simply don't. Hallelujah. It's always been said that the best way to never do anything wrong is to never do anything. Hallelujah. And I am so thankful that if you walk in obedience to his set apart faith, hallelujah, that every time we sow seed, hallelujah, we lay up this goal by ourselves. Not just spiritual, hallelujah, of roots, but also tangible things. His esteem, hallelujah, might get in the earth. And so we truly magnify our for all that he has done. Hallelujah. So for those of you that are here, that are in need of the tithe and offering envelope, raise your hand. And I also this program to give one to you. For those of you that are here remotely by way of internet or internet radio, if you would like to sow seed into good ground, if this ministry has moved your life at all, and if you're tuned in more than one time, hallelujah, even if it's just one time, hallelujah, I know you heard something that made impact in your life. Otherwise, you would not be back. Nobody goes back to a restaurant where they got bad service and bad food unless you took a blood for punishment. Hallelujah. But the eats are good over here. As the center of our ministry says, come over here. The table is spread, and the feast of Yahuwah is going on. So we do magnify him. So for those of you that are here remotely, if you would like to sow seed and send your donations by way of steel mail, then please feel free to do so by sending it to the PO Box 381, Columbia, South Carolina, 29202. That's PO Box 381, Columbia, South Carolina, 29202. For those of you that are here by way of the ministry page, hit the donate button and act accordingly. And for those of you that prefer to use PayPal, as many do, hallelujah, just send us the information. We will send you the corresponding link, and then we will proceed from there. And again, we do thank you in advance. And for those of you that are continual supporters of this work, we do thank you, we thank you, we thank you, and we do love and appreciate you for all that you do. For you make ministry possible. Beautiful. We do thank you for all that you've done. We thank you how you were with us continually. We thank you, Lord, that you are our providence. We do magnify you because you said in your set apart that if we're willing and obedient, we shall eat the good of this land. We do thank you, Abba, now for all that you've done, all that you're doing, all that you're yet going to do. And because our giving is an act of our belief, we thank you because you let us know that when we give, it shall be given unto us. Not might, not maybe, but it shall be given unto us. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Shall you continue to cause men to give into our bosom in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, and it is so. And it is so. Hallelujah. We're truly thankful to our Father in the Lord for all that He's done and for the expectation that we have of Him. We do truly love Him because He loves to provide us with all good things. And even promotion, hallelujah, comes from above. And we do magnify our honor for how He continues to push, promote, and bring us forth as His people, especially as we progressively move forward in truth. And it is so. So without further ado, let's prepare ourselves, our hearts and our minds to be receivers, to be partakers and participators in all that God has in store for us. Hallelujah. It is now time for us to receive bread. Hallelujah. So let us put it in the hands of the bread breaker, none other than my Lord, the one who is the Lord to the lives of all that she meets, especially to find what deserves to years. My Lord, the senior pastor of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom and Bread Belief Ministries, our very own apostle, and senior prophetess, Serena Brown. Put your hands together and see that she comes to bring the hymn of God.
Come on, let's worship. Come on, let's worship Him. Come on, before we receive anything from Him, let us be as for Him. Hallelujah, hallelujah. believe him for economical reparation. I believe him for deliverance, for shalom, for salvation. I believe him on tonight. I believe him. Hallelujah. I believe you, Abba. He's our King. And what does a king do? A king provides for those that are in his kingdom. He is our provider. Whatever you need, he is our provider. You're walking in truth. You're obedient. He is your provider. And whatever we have need of, all we have to do is ask him, and it shall be granted unto us. And it is so. And it is so. As we have gathered here on this night for this higher heights and deeper depths, Torah lesson, as we come before you tonight, as we set up before you, we told our him for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We're going to start with the reading of the commandments. We're going to start with the reading. I'll start with the Baruch of the Torah. And then we're going to go into the commandments immediately. I want to say to you, let not your heart be troubled, but trust in Abba Yah, and know that he's able and qualified to do any and everything that you ask of him. As long as you are living right, all you have to do is believe him for that which you requested. And it is so. And it is so. As we have the Baruch of the Torah. Repeat with me, Baruch Yahuwah.
Baruch Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
For eternity.
For all eternity.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Our supreme one.
Supreme one.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
Who selected us from all the people.
And gave us his Torah.
He gave us his Torah.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme one.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
And implanted eternal life within us.
And implanted eternal life within us.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Now we have the reading of the Ten Commandments by Apostle Brown, coming from the book of the Red on chapter 5, verses 6 through 21. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Aleph, I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from the faith of slavery. Faith, you shall have no other power before me. You shall not make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the man beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto him, nor serve him, for I, Yahuwah, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the Abbas upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Excuse me. Gimel, you shall not take the name of Yahuwah your power and falsify it, for Yahuwah will not hold them guiltless that takes his name and empties it. Dalet, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your servant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the Mitzrayim, and that Yahuwah your power brought you out of there with a mighty hand and by your stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuwah your power commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Nay, honor your Abba and your Ema as Yahuwah your power has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged and that it may go well with you in the land which Yahuwah your power is about to give you. Why? You shall not murder. Saying, neither shall you commit adultery. Tet, neither shall you steal. Tet, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. You, shall you desire your neighbor's wife, neither shall you covet your neighbor's bed, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. These words Yahuwah spoke unto all your assembly in the mount, out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. And it is so.
And it is so. Now we'll be coming from the book of Yahushua, the son of Nun, chapter 1, verse 7 and 8. Repetition is so important unto us for development and growth. We're going to begin at verse 7. And it says, only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah, which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Verse 8, let us confess together as I have tailored it to fit a time of confession. I will not let this scroll of the Torah depart out of my mouth. But I shall meditate on it. Day and night. That I may observe to do. According to all that is written in it. For then I shall make my way prosperous. And act wisely. Now look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, you shall act wisely.
And you shall act wisely.
Look at your other neighbor, and you shall act wisely. And you shall act wisely. Now take your hand and place it over your heart and say, Abba Yahuwah, I shall act wisely. Come on, I shall act wisely. Come on, I shall act wisely. I endeavor to act wisely. I endeavor to act wisely. Come on, I endeavor to act wisely. And it is so. It is important that we act wisely no matter what situation we find ourselves in. And it's important that we always pray. Luke 18:1 says men ought to always pray and not faint. Now we're going to go to the book of Devarim, chapter 6, verses 1 through 18. It is important that we understand all that Abba Yah requires of us as his people. I know a lot of us have gone through and still are going through a million things, but it's important that we hold on to truth and not let go. It is important that we be not swayed to the left nor to the right. No matter what we may be facing, it's important that we understand that we must trust him in this hour and in this season. And it is so. The book of Devarim, chapter 6, verses 1 through 18, and it reads, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you are going to enter and possess it, that you might fear Yahuwah your power to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Yisrael, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as your power of your hours, as promised you in the land that flows milk and honey. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our supreme one, Yahuwah is a God. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah is our Savior, Yahuwah is a God. And you shall love Yahuwah, or you shall ahaba Yahuwah your supreme one with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall talk of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, to fall, to bind to the mind. And you shall bind them for a sign once again upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the doorposts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you great and goodly cities which you did not build, and houses full of all good things which you filled not, and wells dug which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you shall have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power, and serve him, and swear by his name. You shall not go after the power of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah your power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your power be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massa. You You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the good land which Yahuwah swore unto your fathers. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. It is important that we understand that. And it is so. And it is so. Tehillim. Mishlei, 15 and 8. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, hateful, and exceeding offensive unto you, Abba Yah. But the prayer of the upright is your delight. So take confidence and take courage in knowing that when you are living right and you are upholding Torah truth, he enjoys hearing from you. That's the writings. Mishlei 3 and 4. So shall you find good understanding and high esteem in the sight of judgment of Yahuwah and man, and it is so. And it is so. Tehillim 34 and 15. The eyes of Yahuwah are upon the upright, and his ears are open unto our cry. Verse 17. The upright cry, and Yahuwah heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Acts 1 and 8. But we shall receive power after that the Ruach HaKodesh is come upon us. And we shall be witnesses unto him both in Jerusalem and all Judea and Shemar and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. And it is so. It is so. Tehillim 1 and 1. Baruch is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the unrighteous, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law or the instructions of Abba Yah, and he doth meditate upon it. And it is so. It is so. Hebrew 11 and 6. For without belief it is impossible to please him. But he that cometh to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. It takes belief to be our obedient, diligent, disciplined, and it is so. It is so. Ayah 33 and 4. The Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Somebody say he is a life giver. He is a life giver. Say it again, he is a life giver. He is a life giver. And it is so. It is so. Micah 4 and 8. But truly I am full of power by the Ruach HaKodesh, and of judgment and of might, to declare unto Yaakov his transgression, and to Yisrael his sin. And it is so. Yehukin and Aleph 5, 4 and 5. For whatsoever is born of Yahuwah overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our belief. Who is he that overcomes the world? But he that believeth that Yahushua is the Son of Yahuwah. Remember, that is a question. That is not a statement. That is a question. Even though we know it says something else in the King James Bible. Yehukin and Aleph, chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. For whoever keeps his word, the Torah, truly the love of Yahuwah is perfected. By this we know that we are in him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. Verse 17. And the world passes away and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahuwah abideth forever. Somebody say abideth forever. Abideth forever. Say it again, abideth forever. Abideth forever. And it is so. Yehukin Moshiach, which is Mark 11:54, and it reads, Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. And it is so. And it is. And it is so. As we turn our attention once again to the writings. Devarim chapter 11, verses 13 through 22. And it reads, And it shall come to pass, if you listen carefully to my commandments, I command you this day to love Yahuwah your power, to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. That I will give you the rain of your land in its due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your corn and your wine and your oil. And I will send grass in your fields for your cattle, that you may eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and you turn aside and serve other power and worship them. And then Yahuwah's wrath be ignited against you, and he shut up Shemayim, that there be no rain, and the land yield not her fruit, unless you perish quickly from all the good land which Yahuwah gives you. Therefore shall you lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall teach them your children, speaking of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall write them upon the doorposts of your bed, and upon your gates, that your days may your children the land which you were sworn to your fathers, to give them as the days of Shemaiah upon the earth. For if you shall carefully keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love Yahweh your power, to walk in all his halakha, and to cling unto him. And it is so.
It is so.
And it is so.
And
It is important that we understand that we do everything that is required of us, that is commanded of us, so that we can truly walk in the esteem of our Yah. As we come to this place, this portion of our writings, as we come to this place, we want to do this declaration, and then we want to seal our requests and our prayers with Tehillim 19 and 15. Repeat with me. We subdue ignorance with Torah knowledge.
We subdue ignorance with Torah knowledge.
We arrest hate with Torah love.
We arrest hate with Torah love.
We release Torah truth.
We release Torah truth
To the four extremities.
to the four extremes
Of the earth.
of the earth.
Where your Israelites
Where the Israelites
reside.
reside.
We declare healing.
We declare healing,
Shalom.
shalom,
Deliverance.
deliverance,
And salvation.
and salvation
To the body
to the body
of Yahuwah.
of Yahuwah
Through Yahusha.
through Yahushua,
Our Hamashiach.
our Mashiach.
And it is so.
And it is so.
As we have come together for this, our final time of confession on this Yom Shalishi, let us bow before our King as we prepare to seal our time with these words. Repeat with me, may the utterance of my mouth
The utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you.
be desirable before you,
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you.
be desirable before you,
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. We have just recited Tehillim 19 and 15, which seals us this night. In the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. You may be seated in his presence. As we have gathered together in this place once again, as Abiyah has shown his mercy unto us, his people, we come together tonight to finish up our teaching on the timeline of Yahushua phase 2, the year of popularity. The year of popularity. As Yahushua entered into his second year of ministry, his popularity began to swell, attracting crowds from all over Galilee, the Decapolis, and Judea. This is the time when Yahushua often had to find solitude, as described in Mark, Yehukanan, Moshe 1 and 45. As a result, Yahushua could no longer enter a town openly, but stayed outside in lonely places. Yet the people still came to him from everywhere, as Luke 5:15 and 16 describes. Yet the news about him spread all the more, so that crowds of people came to hear him and to be healed of their sicknesses. But Yahushua often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Now here is a broad timeline for the year of his popularity. We already went through phase 1 of the year of inauguration, where people relatively did not know about him. Then, as news began to spread, people began to know who he was. They began to recognize his MO. They began to recognize him because of the trail that he left. I heard one preacher years ago say, leave a mark that can't be erased. And that's what Yahushua did. He left marks that could not be erased. He had left sounds that permeated and continued to vibrate in the atmosphere and into the hearts of those that would dare trust and believe him. And so on tonight, we're going to finish as last Yom Shalishi, we spoke about him calling his fishermen to follow him, the disciples to follow him. Now, we're going to look in a different, I don't want to say two different, but a different perspective. Yahushua heals Kepha's mother-in-law. And we look at Matthew chapter 8, verses 14 through 17. One of the things that I found so interesting in this is that we're going to see really the things that was taking place. Once again, it's important for us as born-again believers and as children of power to believe everything that Abiyah says concerning us as his people. I know trials come and I know tribulations come and I know sometimes they can come, and if we're not careful, they can overwhelm us. Certain situations and circumstances can truly come and try to crowd our spaces and make us feel like, Is there any hope? Is there going to be any break? Is there going to be a deliverance for us at any time soon? Well, you have to understand there is a deliverance, and there's always an answer, and always a way for us as His people. We just got to be willing to trust Him. Somebody said, "I must trust Him." Again, I must trust Him. It's important that we trust writings and we trust everything about what He has said and everything about Him, regardless of the naysayers and regardless of those who dare not believe and trust in Him. We've got to make a conscious decision that we are going to serve Him, even cost us our lives. Now, with that being said, don't get out there something that you put yourself in harm's way, because the writings tell us, "Tempt Yahuwah with evil." Now, we must understand He woke us up to preserve us so that we could be a light to a world that's in darkness, and that means to our people in darkness. So it's important that we understand that He has orchestrated a path for you and I to walk in. And it's imperative that we walk in that He has carved out for us as His people. Once again, I do know that there are times when things come and it weighs really heavy upon us. But we must understand trials are going to come, but we can overcome them with the writings on our side, with Yahuwah being our shield and our buckler. So keep your head up and know that we are the victors and not the victims. I like saying we make victims, but we are not the victim. That's right. Yes, we do. Somebody will say, "Oh, that's kind of harsh." No, it's not. Because either you're going to be the victor or the victim, and I refuse to be the victim. That's right. I refuse to be a victim. I will walk in victory because He's given it to me to do so. So it's important that we understand. Once again, let us turn our attention to the writings as we look. Let us look in chapter 8. Once again, in verses 14 through 17. But we're going to just kind of skim over the first portion of it to give us an overview of what's taking place here. Now, when He had come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed Him. Behold, came a leper, bowed before Him, saying, "Sovereign Yahuwah, if you desire, you can make me clean." And Yahushua put forth His hand and touched him, saying, "I am willing, be clean." And immediately his leprosy was clean. According to history and according to truth, there was nobody else that was able to repeat this miracle, because Yahushua had to become unclean in order for him to be clean.
That's right.
And so he put forth his hand because he was willing. And then as we look down in verse 4, we see that Yahushua said to him, "See that you tell no man, but go your way, show yourself to the Kohen, and offer the gift that Moshe commanded for a testimony to them." Now you have to understand, once again, Yahushua did not come to do away with the instructions of Aliyah. According to Yahoo 5:17 and also in verse 18, it looks to it. Now, if He had come to do away with the instructions and with Torah, He would have never told him to go show himself to the priest. Are you understanding me? Yes. As it was commanded for a testimony, as a witness. So it was imperative that he went and did what he was supposed to do. And Yahushua gave him specific instructions. Don't go tell nobody. Go first to that place where you are supposed to go. And I'm inclined to believe the reason being is because just as today, you will have people that would have tried to talk him out of it. That would have said that what he had was not authentic and that what he had was not real. You got to understand and know that who you're trusting and believing in, you got to make sure, once again, that you follow His instructions and not the instructions of those that are outside of truth. I said outside of truth. Are you hearing me? Because I don't want it to be so broad that people think telling them not to listen to those that have leadership and authority. That's right. And it is so. Now, once again, He gave him a command and he followed it. Now, watch this. Verse 5 says, "And when Yahushua had entered into Capernaum, there came to him a centurion asking for help." Now, you have to understand, he was not of the chosen people, but he had enough of sense to go to the one that was qualified and able to bring deliverance to what and to who he did wholeheartedly or dear to his heart. So it's important that we understand. Now watch this, what takes place. He asked for help. Verse 6 says, "And saying, 'Rabbi, my boy is lying at home paralyzed in terrible anguish.'" Now you have to understand, when I looked at that and I looked at it again, when somebody is paralyzed, that means they cannot move. But not only was he paralyzed, but he was also in terrible anguish. That means he could not move, but he was in so much pain that he could also feel the pain and also not be able to move. That's in a horrible position to be in. Because you're hurting in one respect, but at the same certain areas of your body, you still feel anything. So you are incapable of moving to adjust yourself. You're incapable of moving to get yourself in a position to be comfortable because that's denied you because of what's going on in your body. Now listen what takes place afterwards. And Yahushua said to him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Rabbi, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my boy shall be healed. Now you have to understand the belief that this man gave forth, not being a believer. In other words, he was not a Torah believer, but he was a believer in the power and in the characteristic and the attributes and everything about Yahushua. He was a believer. So therefore, he knew what he was qualified to do. That's why he asked him. And look what happens there. The centurion told him, he said, but speak it. And verse 9, Yahushua said, the man said, for I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goes, and to another come, and he comes, and to my servant do this, and he does it. When Yahushua heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed. Now, mind you, he's talking to his apostles and all of those that were following him because they wanted to have that same thing. They wanted healing. They wanted deliverance. They wanted whatever he was offering them. Now, watch what he says to them. I have not found such great belief. No, not in Yisrael. He didn't find it. Are you understanding? Now you have to understand what constitutes or builds belief. In order to have that type of belief, we've got to read about the person who we're believing in. Right. And what we're expecting of. We've got to build our belief, and we've got to read and meditate upon these things so that when we find ourselves face to face, and I'm talking about in your prayer time and in your devotional time, that when you ask him for this or ask him for whatever it is that you are seeking of him, you will be confident enough to say, all you got to do is say it. All I got to do is have the witness in my heart, and I know it's done. That's right. Are you understanding me? Yes. This is where we as a people have got to develop and grow to. We've got to. We've got to break that mindset that we once had. Now, once again, he said, I found no great belief, no, not in Yisrael. In other words, he could not find that type of belief around his own people that supposedly had read about him in the first covenant, and by reading about him in the first covenant, expecting him in the renewed covenant. It is important that we understand that. We can't believe in something or in somebody that we don't know about. It's not enough, and it's not good enough just to know things about him on the surface. It is important that we dig as deep as we are allowed into his life so that we can understand those things and understand those things that he's given unto us to understand about him. And it is so. And I say to you that many shall come from the east and west and shall sit down Abraham and Isaac and Yaakov in the kingdom of Shemaiah. Now, watch this before people go off on a tangent and start talking about universalism. This is talking about the children of Yisrael that are scattered to the four extremes. These are those that are not or that were not in Jerusalem at that time. It's talking about, if you would, us where we are right now. That was prophetic, and that was speaking futuristic. Those of us that are here right now making our lives complete or maturing in the belief so that we will be the fulfillment of this prophecy. That we will sit with them because we are the prostituting or were once the prostituting sheep of Israel. And it is so. Once again, this is not talking about anybody else but the children of Israel. Now, let's jump down to verse 13. And Yahushua said to the centurion, go your way, and as you have believed, so be it done to you. And his boy was healed in the same hour. He was healed the next day. He was healed in the same hour. That meant that his belief was so strong that he didn't have to wait for it to trickle down. It happened in the same hour that he requested it. It came forth and it came through. Right. Why? Because he knew enough about it and knew that there was no failure. And that if he pronounced it and done it, that it would be so. And it's so. All right, now let us go to our verse 14. And it is so. Now let's look at verse 14. And when Yahushua had come into Keeper's bed, he saw his mother-in-law laying down and sick of a fever. She was sick. Now look what happens in verse 15. And he touched her hand, and he left her, and she arose and ministered to them. Now let's look at the contrast here. She didn't have to ask for anything. Keeper didn't have to ask for anything. Keeper didn't even take him and say, look, my mother-in-law is sick. Can you bring healing? Healing is the children's bread. It does not matter what type of healing it is. It is our bread. That's right. Are you understanding me? Dawood said that healing is the children's bread. Are you understanding me? Yes. It's important that we understand, once again, no matter what you need healing emotionally, economically, are you physically, mentally, socially, it is promised to us because we are his children. He said in Yahoo chapter 15, verse 26, he said that healing is the children's bread. I'm sorry, Yahoo 15:26 said it. Dawood said that he was once young and now he was old, and he had never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed beg for bread. You have to understand, he will never forsake us, neither will he have us to beg for any substance or anything that we have need of. If we're living right and we are esteeming him, it is for us to have. Once again, we have to look at what takes place here. He went right in the house. Nobody said anything about her sickness. All he did was went and did what he was sent to do, and that was to bring healing, deliverance, and shalom to the prostituting or the lost sheep of Yisrael. It was hers, even if she didn't ask for it. It was hers. All she had to do was accept it. Are you hearing me? Yes. Whereas the centurion had to ask for it. And whereas the leper had to ask for it. It was hers because it belongs to us. Now, someone might say, well, I'm going through a situation right now, and I need this to open up for me, and I need that to open up for me. And right now, I just need all these things to open up for me. Well, it is just like if you have a key to a safe deposit box. Until you go and open it up and take it out, it will remain in there. It is yours, not just for the asking, but it is yours even if you don't ask for it, because it's ours. Whenever a person receives an inheritance, it's not because they asked for it. It is because it is theirs, because it was willed to them. This has been given unto us. All we have to do is receive it because it's ours. She didn't rise up and say, can you break this fever off of me? Keeper didn't say, and neither did his wife. You have to understand it was hers because it belonged to her. It's yours because it belongs to you. You know, if you know that you are the people, if you know that you are one of the lost sheep or the prostituting sheep, but no longer a prostitute, living upright and esteeming him in all his ways and doing what you're supposed to do, the only thing you have to do is receive what he's already promised to us. Somebody would say, well, how do I do that? Just go and get what it is you need. If it's a job that you need, go out there and fill out those applications. It's yours. If it's a house you need, go out there and do what's necessary to get it. It is yours. Follow the procedure and it's yours. Are you hearing me on tonight? Yes. It is important that we understand these basic principles for us as a people. Trust me, I know Christianity has done a snow job on a bunch of us. But it's important that we renew our mind to Ibram belief. Romans 12:2 tells us, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the what? Renewing of your mind, that you may present that which is perfect and right in the sight of Abba Yah. It is important that we understand he didn't give us these things for naught. He didn't give them to us. You have to understand, we don't have to ask for what already belongs to us. All we have to do is go and get it. Am I making sense? Yes. It's important that we understand that. What we do then, if we understand this, is we give him thanks for it already being done. We began to give him Torah for that what he knows we have need of. We just Torah him for it because it belongs to us. Are you hearing me on tonight? Yes. It's important that we understand that. Once again, she didn't have to rise up and ask him for it. He was willing to give it to her because it belonged to her. Now, verse 16 says, When the evening had come, they brought to him many that were possessed with demons, and he cast out the demons with his word and healed all that were sick. Now you have to understand, what were they doing? They were doing that drive-by. They were doing that drive-by. They were going getting those that were sick. They were going getting those that were demon possessed. You have to understand, when Yahusha brought forth healing to Keefer's mother-in-law, that was the door that opened for them, for all those that were there in that region, to receive their healing and their deliverance. Now, once again, he brought forth healing with his word, or he cast out demons with his word. So wonder what would his word have been? He told them to loose them. He rebuked them. He didn't bind them, because we have to understand, you don't bind. Bind means the releasing and the receiving of information that allows us to move forward. But he rebuked the demonic spirit that was upon them. You got to rebuke the devil off of your life through the knowledge which is presented to us through the writings. Right. It is important that we understand that. And also, he healed all that were sick. Now, first and foremost, you must understand, if there was sickness there, first thing they had to do was repent and then follow in truth and acknowledge that they needed to follow in truth. Right. So that they would not fall into the trap of sickness again. It's important that we understand that. Now, let's look at verse 17. Verse 17 says, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Yahshua, the prophet, saying, he took our infirmities and bore our sicknesses. Now, we're going to look at that, and we can find that in Yahshua, and we're going to look at that tonight. 53 and 4. 53 and 4. Now, we're going to look at this whole verse. We're going to look at all the way to verse 12. We're going to look at it all the way to verse 12. Why? Because it's important that we understand. Let's read it 6 verses at a time, please. Once again, that's Yahshua chapter 53, verses 1 through 6. Read verse 7. Read verse 7 too.
Who has believed our report? And to whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For he shall grow before him as a tender plant, and root out of the dry ground. He has no majestic form, and when we shall see him, there is no stately beauty that we should desire the same.
Now hold on. Let us look at this, because I want to touch each one of these. Now, once again, let's look at verse 1. Who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed? Now, once again, you have to look at is. Is what? A conjunction, right? It connects the sentence. Who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahusha revealed? You have to understand, that is not past tense. Right. That means it's an ongoing revelation, and him revealing his son, or his right arm, to those who be willing, meaning the household of Yasrael, the prostituting sheep of Yasrael, that will be willing to listen and allow him to be revealed to them. Right. Once again, this is ongoing. It was not just then, it means it is now. And so watch what it says. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He has no majestic form. Now understand why I'm going to cover this, because for so long through Christianity, excuse me, we always were taught that Yahusha, but we know the name Jesus, was that he was not comely, that basically he was ugly. This is what we were always told. You know, that if you saw him, you wouldn't even want to look at him. If you saw him, you wouldn't even want to have any feelings. Well, that's the opposite. That's truly the opposite of truth. Now, once again, when it says we shall see him, there is no stately beauty that we should desire the same. Now, let's look at this. I want to show us the footnote. And the reason I want to show us this is so that we can get this concept out of our heads, and we can purge this concept of what he looks like. Because when you look in the mirror, you also see the to understand we're created in the image of Him.
That's right.
And we're created in the image of Abba Yah, and Yahushua is in the image also of Abba Yah, then we ought to see him in us. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
And if you see yourself as being beautiful and gorgeous and all that, then we ought to be able to see him in that same manner.
That's right.
Now, let's look at this footnote. It says, unfortunately, the false Mashiach that Christianity has projected is supposed to be ugly and nothing to look at. But the Ibram does not say that in any word. If Yahushua was in the likeness of Joseph, then Joseph was beautiful to look at. Yet Christians accept this obvious contradiction while pushing the type. They actually end up making him an anti-type. Yahushua was beautiful to look at and had a persona, but did not come in stately splendor. In other words, he didn't come driving the big fancy cars.
Right.
He didn't come on the Charger. He didn't come with great apparel. He came just with simplicity.
That's right.
And so this is what they considered ugly, just like today. People look at us and say, well, they ain't driving no brand new car. They ain't got this. They ain't got that. Yes, I said got. They don't have this. They don't have that. So they are not, they're not walking in the Baruch of Yahuwah, because how can that be so when they always have a need? They don't have this. They don't have that. So you have to understand what they considered beautiful, what we consider beautiful.
That's right.
Now, once again, Isaiah or Yashiah is trying to convey that he did not come as a king or prince would enter in, that is all, and is not conveying his beauty in any way. This has nothing to do with his physical appearance.
Right.
But in the manner that he carried himself, he didn't carry himself flashy as many of these prosperity preachers would even dare to preach. Somehow he had this and he had all of that. They make him out to be something that he was definitely not.
That's right.
And one of the things he was not, and that was ugly. He was beautiful, and he still is beautiful to those of us that he has been revealed to. His calmliness, his meekness, his demeanor, everything about him, when you see him in the writings, show beauty. It's nothing ugly about him. But what makes people see him in that manner is how people give a description of him. Have you ever had somebody give you a description of somebody, and whether good or bad, and you think, oh man, this person is the bomb, and when you see him, you're like, oh my, what were you doing? What glasses were you getting out of? But you have to understand, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You might look at this person, you might even say that I'm not, but I know I'm beautiful. Are you understanding? Somebody may say you're not, but you got to know you're beautiful, regardless of who says you are or who tries to say you're not. If you don't regard yourself in that manner, guess what? Nobody else will. And even if they don't, it does not matter, because you're not living for the accolades and the applause of people.
That's right.
You're looking for the approval of Abba Yah. So again, it's in the description and how they described him. And you have to understand, they took Yahshua's words and twisted them and manipulated them so that people would think, oh man, he's just some old, bum. He just got no kind of look about him. He just ugly. And, it's who you really want to look at. Who? You start thinking, really? Stop lying. Stop giving a false description of my Savior. He's beautiful in all his ways. He's beautiful to the eye. So once again, it's important that we understand that. Now watch what it says in verse 3. Come on, read for me.
He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Truly he has borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Yahuwah, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our shalom was upon him, and with his stripes we were healed.
Now, hold that for me right there. Now, once again, he is despised and rejected of who? Men. A man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. So you have to understand, anything you feel and experience, he's already gone through.
That's right.
And we hid as if it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. In other words, while they despised him, we lifted him not up. Surely he has borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of power, and afflicted. Now understand, you have to understand, for those that do not believe in Yahushua, this ought to be that turns your heart and changes your whole opinion concerning this, your whole belief system.
Yes, that's right.
Verse 5 says, but he was wounded for our transgressions. Nobody else was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquity. Nobody was bruised for your iniquity except for you.
Right.
The chastisement of our shalom was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Not where we are. That means
Right.
whatever you have need of healing, it is yours right at this moment.
That's right.
It is yours today. It is yours tomorrow. It is yours forevermore. However, whenever we need it, it belongs to us. We've got to get into the mindset that we believe that he wants what's good for us.
That's right.
That he is not against us walking in complete and total shalom and healing and salvation and deliverance. It is important that we understand that. Now, let's look at verse 6.
We like sheep have gone astray. We have turned aside everyone to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the iniquity of us all. Verse 7, he was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb. So he opened not his mouth. And it is so.
Now, let's look at this again, because this is where we have sometimes discrepancies. In verse 6, all we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the iniquity of us all. You have to understand, we all took our own way because we were taught to take our own way. Are you understanding me? In other words, when our ancestors and forefathers went wrong and went left instead of maintaining their walk, we inherited their errors. And so we taught that, and guess what? We were doing our own thing. Even though we were doing it collectively, this sounds so crazy, but it is the truth. Even though we were doing things in a collective manner, we were still doing our own thing.
That's right.
Because we were still going against Torah truth. Now, let's look at what this says. And I'm moving. I don't want to rush, but I do want to move because I want to show you some more things. Our way here is the world's Torah, law. We turned away from Yahuwah's Torah and law. And this is why you have the system, which so many people regard as being right. And I'm talking about the penal system. That's so many people live by, so many people govern their lives by. You have so many that are bona fide believers of the law that governs this land. And this is why they'll do whatever to live by. This is why they'll sell their mama if need be in order to maintain their self. But you have to understand, no man is free here in this land. Not even the ones that think they're free. No man is free in this land. Once again, and not even the ones that think they're free. You're not free because you're still bound by a system that determines when you buy, when you don't buy, what you are able to have and what you can't have.
Right.
When it comes down to taxes, they don't care what color you are. All they look at is green. Ninja green. They don't care because it's all about making sure they maintain their quality of life. So it doesn't matter what color you are when it comes to that respect. But when it comes down to the truth and walking in the laws or the instructions of Abba Yah, that's when you start seeing the departing, us going separate ways. We might be in this land, but we're not of this land. We are strangers, and we passing through it. This is not my home. I'm a stranger here. And that's why we want to live like strangers. People ought to not be able to say, man, you know you live here. We know you're an American. You so steeped in it that they don't know what you are. You flying the flag and all the rest of that crazy stuff. Now I ain't saying you got to go out and do all crazy kind of stuff with it. I'm just saying you ain't got to be living by it and up under it. Because we are not of this land. We are not of this people. We are of a people that are set apart. And so it's important we understand that. But once again, you have to understand, many people follow the world's Torah. In other words, the world's law. They take all their problems to the law, to the system that they know ain't going to work for them. They march, they do all these things, but we're going to take it and we're going to take it to the penal system and we're going to take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court should be able to help us. The Supreme Court ain't help nobody but themselves. They don't want to help nobody but themselves. And we continue to follow up under that madness. And then we say, well, we don't have nobody to go to. Yes, you do. Pray and ask the Ruach HaKodesh to lead you to that one that is qualified. qualified, not just one, those ones, plural, that are qualified to judge and qualified to set that what is right in your life, that what is disarrayed and out of order. We go quickly. Something happened between us. We're ready to take it to the courts. They're not going to judge accordingly. They're not going to use the system, the Torah. They're going to use their standards, a way of judging and pronouncing right and wrong. So we don't live by that, but we used to. So it's important that we understand this is what this is talking about. And many still do it, but yet hold on to the name or try to hold on to the name of being a believer. You're not a believer, a true believer, if you're still walking in your own ways. If you are still doing things that are not approved by Abba, you are doing you are out of order. You're out of order. Now listen what happens. And Yahuwah has laid on him the iniquity of us all. That means all of us. That's a lot for one man to carry on his shoulders. But you have to understand he had the broad shoulders where he was able to carry because he was qualified to do it. Nobody else is qualified and never was qualified to carry what Yahuwah should carry upon shoulders. Verse 7 says, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb. So he opened not his mouth. Now I wanted to look at this, and I want to read this to you. I did a little looking up to see what was the prerequisites, or how did they shear lambs, and what did they do? When I tell you, it's some cruel people out there. It is just ridiculous, the things that you find out. But he summed it up. He said, like a lamb, he was beaten and bruised, but he remained quiet because he had a job to do. Reconcile Yisrael back to the Yahweh in Shemayim. Looked it up, and what they do when they get ready to shear lambs or sheep, they take them, and some places the way they do it is they beat them in the head with hammers. They throw them against the wall. They punch them in the head, and they beat them. They actually beat them, and they're cruel to them, just being cruel. So when you look and it says, like a lamb, he was beaten and bruised. He was beaten and he was bruised. They beat him with what is the cat o' nine tail, 39 stripes. They took what was leather and they put broken bones in it, and they took teeth and all that stuff, and they wrapped it up in there. So when they beat him, and that was not what they customly did, but they made sure that when they beat him, they were making a statement. So when they beat him, it pulled out chunks of his back, but yet he opened not his mouth. Not only did they do that, but they slapped him and they spit on him and they pulled his beard out. Now you have to understand, I understand now even the more, even when I was in Christianity, I often wondered why did they pull his beard out? Well, to have a man to not have a beard is a place of shame, especially when he's old enough and he can grow a beard. So they pulled his beard out to shame him. They pulled his beard out to humiliate him. So you have to understand, like a lamb, he was beaten and he was bruised because they beat him, they whipped him, they slapped him, and they spit on him. So you have to understand, the question is, how many of us will be willing to have somebody spit on us? One of the nastiest things that anybody can ever do to you, because the saliva from somebody's mouth is nastier than anything else. It is acidic and it is nasty. And to have somebody hawk up on you in this, to have somebody pluck your beard, that's hurtful. That hurts. I know when I'm messing around with Apostle Brown's beard and I'm trying to pick it out, and you be like, ooh, no, that's all right. Leave it alone. It hurts too bad. So you can imagine you being a man and somebody pulling the hairs out of your face, yet he opened not his mouth. Neither did he flinch, because he understood he had a job to accomplish. And he could not have accomplished it if he gotten out of order and gotten out of character. So he had to maintain. Not only did they do that, but they made sure that they took all his clothes and they beat him. And they beat him till they were satisfied. So understand, his body was so marred that they couldn't even recognize who he was. And all this for you and me. He did all this for the children, the prostituting sheep of Yisrael. I cannot understand for the heart of me how people can read that and still continue to walk in the manner that they walk in. There is a problem there, and it is a heart condition. It is a heart condition. That means our hearts have not been conditioned because we still have not seen him, because even though the revealing of him has already been made, we still cannot accept who he is because of the traditions of men. And it is so. But they would beat them and throw them up against the wall and beat them with sledgehammers and just go ballistic and do unnecessary stuff. So you have to understand these things were really happening to the sheep. And so it happened to him. And it is so. And he opened not his mouth. He played dumb. And it says, as a sheep before her shears is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. He played dumb. Are you hearing me? Yes. He was taken from prison and right ruling. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. You have to understand, for our people, for my people, for your people, our people, the children of Yasrael, the children of power. It's important that we understand all that he went through. And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. He didn't lie. He didn't do any of those things. But you must understand the price that he had to pay for your freedom and for my freedom. Are you understanding me? Yes. He was truly a freedom fighter. And he paid a high price. Listen what it says. Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him. All this pleased Yahuwah. Now you got to understand, once it's all said and done, this pleased Yahuwah to bruise him. He has put him to grief. When you shall make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hand. It's important that we understand it pleased Abba Yah to bruise him so that we can be made complete and whole in him. Right. This is why we can't reject Yahushua, because if you reject him, you can't be made complete. Right. You can't be accepted. Right. Verse 11. He shall see of the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my upright servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. It's important that we understand you cannot be without Yahushua. That's right. No matter how many people try to misinterpret this writing, there is nobody that has ever been able to handle that type of pressure and get up and walk away and walk around and then be seated right hand of Abba Yah. Right. Nobody else was able to handle that. Nobody else was qualified to even go through that. Nobody could even get in line, even be talking about, let me see if I can handle it. Because there was nobody qualified. Verse 12. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong. Because he has poured out his soul to death, and he was numbered with the transgressors. And he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. We must understand his ministry did not finish there. It is not finished. It's important for us to understand. Now listen what it says. The many is a hint to the house of Yasrael first, and then the house of Yehuda next. Now you have to understand something once again. All this was already prophesied before Yahushua had even come on the scene. And by him bringing forth healing, he was just operating off of the prophecy or out of prophecy. Are you hearing me? Yes. Now, he is Yasrael's Savior, whether we know it or not, and at the right time will make himself known to those who do not know him. Now, once again, he is not a license for sin, as Christendom has made him into one. You know, he knows my heart. You know, I know what I did was wrong, and, you know I need to do better than do better. That's right. Do better. There ain't no room for I know I need to, just do it. You know, we do things, just do it. That's right. If we're going to do better, do better. We need to stop making excuses and just go ahead and level up and mature up. That's right. And do what we have to do in order to maintain our consistency. Once again, you have to look at all that he endured just for you and me. And once again, this goes to, the tangibility of him raising her up from sickness. That's right. And now you have to understand, He did this before all this took place. So he understood that the pay was going to be very great, but he still did it anyway. And you have to understand, and this is why they began to bring all those to him, because they realized he is the one that the writing spoke about. He is the one that the writing spoke about. He's the one that Yahshua spoke about in Isaiah 15, Yahshua 53, I'm sorry, in 4, that whole chapter 1 through verse 1 through 16. He is the one that was spoken about. We read about him. So we need to believe him.
That's right. That's right.
They went quickly when word spread, because you have to know, when people get sick, it's known. We don't know how to keep quiet when we get sick. You go to people, what's wrong with so-and-so? Oh, child, they under the weather. People post it up on social media. I'm under the weather. Why? Because you're looking for somebody to give you a remedy so you can get better. Well, the remedy is Yahushua.
That's right.
He's the one. He cures us of all our diseases. He'll heal us of all our sicknesses. But better than that, he won't allow us to fall prey to them if we live right.
That's right.
Now, let us look at let's go to Shema chapter 15 and 26. Once again, that 15:26 says that healing is the children's bread. This is when the Canaanite woman, came to him desiring to be healed, her daughter to be healed. And he said, first it's got to go to them, but her belief in him allowed her to receive what it is that she greatly desired. You have to understand, we're not in this for competition or competition from anybody, but I'm walking in truth now.
That's right.
And I just can't see walking in truth, struggling and not having, and those that's not walking in truth are able to supersede me because they believe in more than I do. Are you understanding?
Yes.
No competition. We're not in a race. But you have to understand, we're his children.
That's right.
And his children ought to believe him more, and it ought to be manifested, our belief, in our day-to-day lives.
That's right.
The tangibility of his word being manifested in and on our lives. Okay, let's look at, let's go to Shema, which is Exodus 15 and 26. All right, read that one. We're going to read it, and then we're going to look at it in the writings.
Shema 15 and 26. Reads, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Yahuwah thy power, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and follow his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Mitzvah, for I am Yahuwah your power that healeth thee. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, once again, let us look at this. Let's look at this again. And the reason I want to tie these verses into this is because you have to understand the importance of what he did in his this being on his timeline in the year of popularity. Everything Yahushua did was to encourage us and to build belief in us as his children.
That's right. That's right.
Everything he did. Now, once again, it's important that we understand Shema chapter 15, verse 26. And said, if you will diligently heed the voice of Yahuwah, your power, and will do what is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments. It's important that we give ear, because when we give ear to something, we are prone to act it out or to operate in it.
Right.
Disobedient children are those that don't listen, so they're not going to act it out. They're not even live it out.
That's right.
Because they don't hear it. You got to give ear. And once you give ear, you're able to respond in a positive manner. And watch this, and keep all his statutes. I will put none of the diseases on you, which I have brought on the Mitzrayim, for I am Yahuwah who heals you. He's a healer. He's a deliverer. And this is something that we've got to position ourselves to be able to accept and not walk continually in error. You have to understand, once we come in the truth and start living right, we're no longer under the curse.
That's right.
So that means those things that were attributed to the curse and follow the curse should not still be following our life, unless there is something going on with us that we need to make right and get right.
That's right.
Now, if you want to be saved from diseases that the Mitzrayim had to experience, then you must be Torah obedient. We cannot walk limping in Torah with one foot in the world and one in the church, refusing to obey Torah. Our assembly's first motto must be obedience to Yahuwah and his voice, which is declared in the Torah, which Moshe delivered unto the children of Yisrael. Right. It is important that we understand that. This is why I am a stickler for repetition, and I am a stickler for Yahusha, the son of Nun, chapter 1, verse 7 and 8. Because in order for us to develop and to grow, we must meditate on it. I'm not just saying that's the only one, because there are others. You might have a verse or you might have a book that you love, but the important thing is that you keep that as a pinnacle or as a foundation. All of it is, but there ought to be that one that just secures you no matter what you are going through, no matter what you're coming out of, no matter what's taking place in your life. That's right. It ought to be that one verse that no matter what's taking place, that verse grabs you and pulls you up out of whatever situation you find yourself facing. That's right. Are you hearing me? Because you're going to have people that are challenging you. You're going to have people that want you to come out of that place of being and carrying yourself as a child of power. Right. So you want to make sure that you have a verse that says, look, I'm coming to get you because I'm not going to let you mess up and I'm not going to let your mouth get you in trouble. That's right. That immediately jumps in to your root and says, don't do that. Don't you open your mouth to say that because people watching you. You better watch what you're doing because if you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to bring a blemish on your life. And when you do that, it is hard for people to accept you and believe in you. That's right. It's important that we understand that. You got to have that Torah that says, I got you and I'm not going to let you go. And let it do what it's supposed to do. And that's to keep us and restrain us from doing things that are not the will of our Yah. Are you understanding? Yes. Now, once again, we ought to hear his voice no matter what. No matter what's taking place. Don't let it depart out of your mouth. Don't let it depart out of your life. But make sure it's there. Always. That when you rise, it's there. And when you lay down, it's there. When you wake up in the middle, it's there. Because it'll be throughout your life. Not just throughout the day. You got to understand this is a lifelong commitment. That's right. So it's important that we understand that. Now, once again, he said, I won't put these diseases on you. I won't cause you to suffer. And so we got to understand, if we're going through anything, we got to look at our lives. Where are we? What are we doing? Have we been following the commandments? Have we been doing it? And I'm not talking about man-made commandments. I'm talking about the Torah, the writings of Abiyah. Have we been doing everything that he's commanded of us? Have we sought it? Have we looked? Really, I'm talking about we looked and looked and looked and looked, and we prayed and we prayed until we found the answer. I'm not talking about grabbing something because it sounds right and because everybody's doing it. I'm talking about because it's right. That's right. And it is so. And it is so. All right, now let us go to Devarim, chapter 28, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14. Once again, it's important that we understand why he made that stop there. It is to so that he could encourage the children of Yisrael, encourage them because it's ours. And once again, she didn't ask for it; it was given to her. And I'm a full believer that she was one, because you have to understand she could be living in the same house with Keefer and not be living by Torah. That's right. I believe that. And you have to understand, somebody may ask, well, if sickness come upon you, does that mean you're sinning? It could be that the sickness is still there because the sin that we once lived in. Now we repent, and after we repent, we ask him to remove it from our lives. Then we got to change our things we do. Sometimes we don't change. We move from that position of walking in error, but there are some habits that we haven't kicked yet. That's right. And that's why it continues to linger. All right, chapter 28, we're going to read verses 1 through 14. And it is so.
Devarim chapter 28, verse 14.
1 through 14. Sorry.
Devarim chapter 28, verse 1 through 14. From the NIV scriptures. If you fully obey Yahuwah your power and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, Yahuwah your power will set you high above all the nations on earth. All these Baruch will come upon you and accompany you if you obey Yahuwah your power. You will be Baruch in the city, Baruch in the country. The fruit of your womb will be Baruch, and the crops of your land, and the young of your livestock, the cows of your herd, and the lambs of your flocks. Your basket and your kneading trough will be Baruch. You will be Baruch when you come in, and Baruch when you go out. Yahuwah will grant that the enemy who rises up before you. They will come at you from one direction but flee from you in seven. Yahuwah will send a Baruch on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. Yahuwah will Baruch you in the land he's giving you. Yahuwah will establish you as Kodesh people as promised you on oath, if you keep the commands Yahuwah your power and walk in his ways. Then all the peoples on earth will see that you are called by the name of Yahuwah, and they will fear you. Yahuwah will grant you abundant prosperity, and the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground, and the land he swore to your avot to give you. Yahuwah will open the heavens and storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to Baruch all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but you will borrow from none. Yahuwah will make you the head, not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands Yahuwah your power that I give you this day, and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commands I give you today, to the right or to the left, following other power and serving them. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, look at this again. So, he's given us an example. And the reason why I love it in the set apart writings is because when we have it in the set apart writings, it gives us the original saying. Now it says, and it shall come to pass if you listen carefully to the voice of Yahuwah your power to guard and to do all his commandments which I command you this day, that Yahuwah your power will elevate you high above all nations of the world. Now you have to understand in that first verse, and it says Yahuwah your power to do what? It says to keep it, right?
Yes.
Now keeping it and guarding it are two different things. It is almost like you're giving a option if you keep it. No, in other words, you are to guard it regardless. It's already been given to us. Now our responsibility is to guard it. We have a responsibility and an obligation to guard whatever we know about truth, about the Torah. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
And his commandments, we are supposed to guard it. Now, Rabbi Shaul mentioned this in Galatians 3 and 10. Anyone even claiming to be a believer who does not continue in all the words is still under a curse, even if he or she claims to be in Mashiach. Mashiach only removed the curse of sin and the second death. There are many curses written in the Torah, and there are also many baruchs. In order to read these, you have to hear and do the words of this Torah. These curses are separate from the Mashiach Israel, which people usually mix up with the baruch and curses. Once again, it's important that we understand everything that Abba Yah is given unto us. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Now, let's look at this other one. Now, to guard. The word shar here means to protect and obey the commandments. The protection is like your own property and right. Do you guard his commandments like you guard your son, your daughter, or your most material prized possession? The meaning behind this is like a soldier standing with a machine gun, guarding and fighting for his country and the rights of his nation. That's what it means to guard. That means you are on high alert 24/7, 52 weeks, 365 days a year, or 360 days a year. You're on high alert all times because you understand his instructions are more precious and valuable than anything else in this world. And you can't afford to have it taken from you or lose it. And it is so. It is so. It's important that we understand that we don't lose it and we don't allow it to be taken from us. Now, once again, he said, I'll elevate you above all nations of the world. This is what's important. Now, a lot of people believe, well, y'all messed up, or your ancestors and forefathers messed up really bad, so now y'all ain't the one the church is, and it's open for everybody. You have to understand, once he pronounces a thing, he's not going to renege on it. He's not going to go back on it. Now, Yahuwah will also raise up Yisrael first in the order of resurrection. So the idea in the ancient Hebrew to be Elyon, to be elevated, not just an elevation here, but also elevation ahead of the world. In ancient Hebrew, it means to be led by the hand of Yahuwah. Yisrael, if they are keeping Torah, would not perish, as many have presumed, and will be raised ahead of all the nations and we've been given a full covenant chance to be saved. Now, once again, many in the church have been teaching a bogus theology that Christians go ahead into the kingdom and Yisrael end up in hell. It's important that we understand, and that's exactly what they've been saying. It's important that we understand who we are and that he does not lie. He said he will raise us up to be a head and above every nation, and that's what he's going to do.
That's right.
It may not look like it right now, but you trust me, he is.
That's right.
Trust the writings. And he said, all these Baruchs shall come on you and overtake you. You shall listen carefully unto the voice of your power. How do we listen to his voice? We listen to his voice through the writings. Because if you don't understand the writings, then you definitely don't understand and know his voice. Because he's not going to tell you to do anything contrary to the writings.
Right.
Baruch shall you be in the city, and Baruch shall you be in the field. Baruch shall be the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, the fruit of your cattle, the calves of your herds, and the flocks of your sheep. Baruch shall be your basket and your store. Baruch shall be when you come in, and Baruch shall you be when you go out. Yahuwah shall cause your enemies, not enemies, plural, that rise up against you to be struck down before you. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. You have to understand the importance of when the enemy comes our way, especially when we're walking in the Baruch that he's given to us. This will only happen if you obey Torah. But since many Christians and Torah fans are just fans, they actually are getting beat up by their enemies and losing out on the greatest Baruch Yahuwah has for them. Disobedience has a price. Somebody say disobedience has a price.
Disobedience has a price.
Yes, it does. Don't believe for one moment just because you see people with stuff that everything is going well, because you don't know what kind of hell when they go home they're living in. You don't know what kind of they are suffering when they go home. Just because it glitters does not mean it's gold. Right. There's this thing called pyrite, fool's gold. And it has fooled a many, but till you take it to that jeweler and they look at it, they have an eye to determine whether or not it's real or fake. And many people back in the gold rush days were fooled, and even now people that still paying for gold, they take it and they say this is not real gold. There's just something about that real gold that just it shines and it's soft, but it's not that shiny, but it's soft and it's a beautiful metal. But you have to understand there are a lot of people out there that are fool's gold, pyrite. And you may look and fool people, but you will never fool Yahuwah. We ain't in the business of trying to fool Yahuwah. We want to live right so that we can reap the benefits of our obedience.
That's right.
So once again, disobedience has a price, and we don't want to be walking disobedient. I know that.
That's right.
And it is so. Now look what he says unto us as a people. Once again, he said in verse 8. No, verse 8, yeah. Yahuwah shall command the blessing of the Baruch upon you in your storehouses, and in all that you set your hand unto, and shall Baruch you in the land which Yahuwah your power gives you. Yahuwah shall establish you as a set-apart people unto himself, as he has sworn unto you, if you guard the commandments of Yahuwah your power and walk in all his ways. Verse 9 is important for us. Yahuwah shall establish you as a set-apart people unto himself. He's not setting us apart for everybody else. He's setting us apart unto himself.
That's right.
Now look what he says. He has sworn it. If you guard the commandments, once again, it's important because it goes right back to that same word, guard. Guard means to protect. It is important that once you walk in the truth and you understand and you are established in this way, that you guard it. You can't just let your guard down, because the enemy every day, every second, every minute, every hour, he is on his job trying to make you forfeit, make you abort, and make you give up on Torah truth.
That's right.
He's trying to literally steal it from you. He comes to do what? Steal, kill, and to destroy. That's his mission and goal in life, to do those things to you and to me. But if we're on guard and we're watching our stuff, he doesn't have a chance to do so.
That's right.
Give him hell and be so. And all people of the world shall see that you are called by the name of Yahuwah. How many people?
All people.
How many people?
All people.
All people shall see that we are called by the name of Yahuwah. And they shall be afraid of you. You don't have to go around trying to bully people. You don't even have to go around running your mouth.
That's right.
Because whatever Yahuwah is going to do, he's going to do it.
That's right.
Many times people mess up because they go around trying to be bullies with their mouths. I don't have to threaten you and tell you what he's going to do to you. All I have to do, live right, and he's going to do what he said he's going to do.
That's right.
It's important that we get that burned into our hearts to fall, bind it to the mind.
That's right.
And Yahuwah shall make you plenteous in goods, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your ground, and the land which Yahuwah sworn to your fathers to give you. Yahuwah shall open unto you his good treasure, the Shemayim, to give the rain unto your land in its season, and to brew all the work of your hand, and you shall lend unto many nations, and you shall not borrow. Now look again at verse 12. Yahuwah shall open unto you his good treasure, the Shemayim, to give the rain unto your land in his season. Are you understanding me? In his season. It's important that we understand we live according to seasons.
That's right.
There are 4 seasons that we live in. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Actually, you can say 3 because I believe that autumn, which is fall, is also consumed in winter. But you have summer, spring, autumn, and winter. But I believe that autumn and winter go hand in hand. But there are 4. If we did 4, you have spring, you have summer, you have fall, and you have winter. And each one of those seasons, Yahuwah has a season for. You can get rain in the winter, because those of us that have winter crops, we still need rain.
That's right.
But we need rain that's not freezing. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
He said, I'll open unto you the good treasure, Shemayim, to give the rain unto your land in his season. Whose season? And the season of Abiyah. And to Baruch all the work of your hand, and you shall lend unto many nations, and you shall not borrow. It's important that we understand. I don't want to be a borrower all my life. I don't want to borrow at all.
That's right.
You want to be able to lend, and in your lending, never have to worry about, oh, I done ran out. I don't have enough to give you none because I've lent to them, and so I'm out. I'm tapped. We don't want to be that.
That's right.
Now, look at this. How come many people who claim to know Yahuwah are constantly down? This is because they are disobedient to Torah. If we want to rise up, then obey, and Yahuwah will bring us out of adversity. I don't want to be struggling. I don't know about you.
Right.
But I want to be able to have it like that. So where you don't have to worry about nobody coming in and stealing your stuff. You don't have to worry about nobody coming in. You know, they tell you now that they only cover $250,000 of your money. You got $1 million in there now. You can't hardly sleep because you're thinking only 250 of it is covered unless you know how to, have it in 50 billion banks or credit unions. But you want to be able to rest at night knowing that he baruch you like that. You ain't got to worry about nobody going in there because the moment they think about it, they'll find them in their bed stinking dead. Because even if they think about touching what's yours or mine, they'll die. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
You want to be able to truly say you got enough that you can lend, and if they keep coming, guess what? You never tap out because you understand you are not your resource. I'm not my own resource. Yahuwah is my resource.
That's right.
That's the way we want to live. That's the way we want to develop and grow as his children. It is so. All right. Once again, it's talking about what we're talking about healing. All this comes with healing. Do you not know when you are completely and totally healed, everything in your life is healed? Your finances is healed. Your emotions is healed. Your physical body, everything is healed. There's nothing that's sick and lacking. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything that he said for us to do. And it is so.
It is so.
Now look what he says. And you shall, and Yahuwah shall make you the head and not the tail. And you shall be above only. You shall be above only. And you shall not be beneath. If you carefully listen to the commandments of Yahuwah your power, which I command you this day to guard and to do them, he's always referring and telling us to guard because he understood that we as a people sometimes let our guards down. And we get cocky and we feel like, can't nobody take this from me. I ain't gonna let it down. But you better understand, he wouldn't have constantly reiterated over and over again and consistently kept saying it and keep saying it to us unless there was by some chance, if you let your guard down, that it can be taken and you can find yourself outside of truth. Just look at our ancestors and forefathers.
Right.
So never ever underestimate what has been given unto us. Don't ever get so cocky to where you feel like you can never let your guard down. Because the moment you do will be the time you get stole real quick. And you shall not go aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other power to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if you will not listen unto the voice of your power to guard and to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, that all the curses shall come upon you. And it is so.
And it is so.
We don't want those curses, and we know it continues. We don't want the continuation of it, and we don't want to restart them, and we don't want to keep an open door for them to be over our lives.
That's right.
And it is so.
It is
Once
so.
again, Dawood said, I was once young, and now I'm old. I've never seen the upright forsaken, nor his seed bake bread. You have to understand, every part of our lives, if we will walk in complete and total obedience to him, will be covered and secure. You know that what is that insurance company say you're in good hands with whoever? Yeah, that's a lie. But you're in good hands with Abba Yah. That's you in good hands with him. That's a lie. Anyway, you're in good hands with Abba Yah. And no matter what, never ever let anybody pull you from his hands. Never let anybody pull you from his mercy. Don't even let your emotions get the best of you. Don't let depression, oppression, don't let grief, sorrow, don't let any of those things get the best of you to where you start second guessing what he's able to do and what he desires to do for your life.
That's right.
It's important that you don't. We never ever want to walk in doubt and disbelief. We always want to walk in belief. Once again, I believe that when Yahushua went to Kefa's house, to his mother-in-law's, when he healed Kefa's mother-in-law, it was to encourage their hearts. And at that night, after she served them, everybody started bringing their food and bringing them to be healed, delivered, and it is so. And it is so. Once again, I want to encourage your heart. Keep your head up, keep your shoulders squared, and keep your heart and your feet in upon the Torah. You can't go wrong. Once again, for those of you that are seeking employment, and those of you that have sicknesses in your body, and you are right now at a place where you're really questioning, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing everything that you commanded me to do. I'm doing everything that you asked of me to do. I don't understand, why am I still suffering with this? Why am I wrestling with this sickness? Why is it in my body? Things that happen to us, the thing of it is to go back, look at your life again, because sometimes in all realness, we can believe that we have everything together, and there still be some small loophole that we don't think that matters, and it does. And once we've done that, then we can go and we can claim what he has said for us that we can have. I don't know about you, but every day of my life, I'm doing a reality check. When I wake up, Aliyah, have I been pleasing to you throughout the night? This day, I want to be pleasing to you. I don't want to do anything. I don't want my thoughts to be displeasing to you. That's why I always recite the hymn of 19 and 50, because I want the deliberation of my heart. I want everything I do to be desirable before him. And the only way that can be so is I got to live right.
That's right.
I got to live right, and I got to do right. And it is within me to do so because I have the manual, and that is the writings of Abba Yah. Once again, I pray for those of you that need employment, for those of you that need a roof over your head. I just want to say, go get it. It's yours. Believe him. Repent. Ask Abba Yah to forgive you of any and everything. If you're not sure, still repent. Ask him, Abba Yah, just in case I didn't see anything, or I overlooked something, or I just accepted something because it's such a part of me that I just thought it was okay to do it. You know, we have habits sometimes we think are all right, and those habits are not pleasing in the sight of Abba Yah. And this is a way for him to get our attention. So don't just brush it off, but look at it and ask him, okay, something is stopping me because you gave me a guarantee in your writings. And so on tonight, I want to pray with you. Um, so release your belief with my belief, and we believe in Yahuwah this week that you're going to get what it is you need because you're walking in truth and you're not going to avoid it. You're going to guard it with everything in you. And whatever habits and whatever things that you have carried for so long and accepted them as okay, you're going to disregard them things. You're going to get rid of them.
That's right.
And you're going to live a life that says that everything you do is pleasing in his sight. And it is so.
And it is so.
Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua al-Mashiach, as we come before you this great night, I told you, Abba Yah, for your writings. I told you that you have given us the means to prosper, and And you said if we would guard the commandments and that we would give ear to your instructions, that you would allow us to be Baruch. This night, Abba Yah, as your people, our people, have given ear to your instructions and your guidance, that what they stand in need of, many healing in their bodies from the crown of their head to the sole of their feet. Those that need you to reverse the decision. I told you, Abba Yah, that as they go down on their knees, that as they stand, as they've repented already and asked you to forgive them of their sins, that you've made this thing, you've worked it out, and you're walking it out in them and through them even now. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that need transportation, for those that need a job. I told you, Abba Yah, for opening doors for them, better conditions. They can have better hours, no struggle, no fight. I told you, Abba Yah, for doing these things and so many more for your people. Those that are struggling in their relationships, those that are having issues and confusion and bickering and fussing continues to pop up in the relationship. I pray, Abba Yah, that you will bring forth shalom in the midst. And I pray you restore love and commitment and compassion and ahava to the relationships. I told you, Abba Yah, for this time that you have given unto us and showing us that we do have a right to healing as long as we live right. I told you, Abba Yah, for changing things around for your people. Let the reports begin to come in, even on tonight, even on tomorrow, Yom Reviv. I told you, Abba Yah, for all that you're doing and all that you've done. In the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, and it is so, and it is so. Once again, I want to say to you, beloved, I want to say to you, those that the Ahava of Yahuwah, that he will continue to lead and guide you and continue to fall deeper and deeper in a harbor with him and continue to guard it because it is our way of life. Once again, I'm looking for reports. I'm looking for you to let us know how he has baruch your life on this week. I am looking for those things and so many more. Once again, I want you to remember that we love, that we are harbor you. Yes, we do not say love anymore. For those of you that are wondering, we do not say that word love anymore because it is connected to um, lupus, which is a female wolf, and it's Greek. And according to the historians, this lupus, which is a wolf, nursed two boys, Ramus and what was the other one's name? Um, Romulus. And this is something where love, basically, the word love has come from. And so we are not using that term any longer. So if I stumble over my word, just know it is because I am renewing my language to Ibram language. So once again, we ahava you. And we pray that the ahava of Yahuwah continues to lead and guide you and continue to lift you up. Once again, I want you to remember we're praying with you and for you. I am Prophetess Sabrina Brown, also Moral 777, and I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Bread Belief Ministries, located in South Carolina. Once again, I want you to remember here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Bread Belief Ministries, this is the place where the Torah does the body good. Until next time, may Abba Yah Baruch Atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV, a place where the champions reside. And it is so. It is so.